Hi friends, welcome to yoga. We're gonna begin lying down and you're gonna want a blanket or a bath towel folded up or rolled is an option too. So go ahead and grab that and then come on back to your mat. When you have it there, you're gonna sit with your hips on one side and then you're gonna lie back so that you prop your kind of middle upper back, whatever you wanna call it, on that high point so that your head can make it to the ground. So you want your shoulders on one side and you want your butt on the other side. And you want this to be somewhat low, like moderate in height. We don't want it so high that it's hard to breathe or relax. And we're going to use this opportunity, this moment of reclining, as our time to center ourselves. That's just yoga speak for kind of taking a moment to let go of your day, to take some conscious breaths and to relax your body and mind a little bit. Let's just take 3 more deep, full breaths. Not so deep that you're forcing it, but just try to expand your ribs and then relax your shoulders. 1 more of those. Now let's stay here. We're just going to begin to open and close the hands, so kind of starfishing the fingers and thumbs apart, really nice and wide, and then clenching into a soft fist. You don't need to squeeze super tight, just to open and close, just bringing some blood flow to the arms. And while you move your hands, everything else is just remaining settled as it was before. And the next time that you expand your palms and fingers out like rays of the sun, you're going to have your hands hovering above the ground and you're going to start to stretch your arms overhead. So the elbows will come off the ground as well, and you're going to go to a few inches maybe off the ground. So maybe shoulder height, maybe a little higher. And instead of trying to get your hands to the ground overhead, just reach out above your head. So like if you were standing, this would be toward the sky. And just keep spreading the fingers. You don't have to spread to your maximum. Just keep the palms bright and open and reach through your arms. Let the shoulders track up slightly by your ears because you're reaching so much, and really just picture this whole line from your hips to your hands. Your hands might start to drop a little lower. That's fine, but just don't force them to the ground. Really just try to get longer versus more like a back bend. Let's take 1 breath into the chest and ribs again. And then we'll let that breath go and retract the arms. Okay, stay here again. Little tiny lift in your chin. Elbows bent kind of 90 degrees off to the sides, but hands relaxed now. With the throat open like you have it, keeping the chin a little lifted, slowly begin to pivot your head, rotating your neck so that you're looking off to the right, and be very sensitive to when you start to feel tightness in your left side, like across the left side of your throat or your left shoulder. So even though you might be able to turn your head more, just stop there. Check that you haven't dipped your chin down toward your shoulder, keeping it up away from the right shoulder. And then soften around the left pec, that's your chest muscle, where your chest and shoulder meet. Try to relax that left shoulder back, even while looking over toward the right. And then we'll go slow back to center. And now you kind of have a picture of what's going to happen. You're twisting your neck, rotating your head toward the left, keeping the chin elevated away from chest. Not dramatically so, just open in the throat. And then you're being sensitive to when do you feel tightness or restriction or sensation of stretching across the right side of your shoulder and neck. Like, so for me on this side, I feel even like a little pins and needles in my right hand. So you stop there, even though you can physically turn your head more, and you just wait patiently, not the human's best trait normally. And you just allow that right side to have the same care and attention the left side had. Give one breath to this side of the pose, one more big one. Let it out. And then bring your head to center. Now we're going to take the hands, we're going to slip them behind the skull, and we're just going to traction gently, kind of pull on the head. Just use your, like a little squeeze on the skull to pull. And then pick your head up. Use your hands as much as you can, not your head. And then start to draw your front ribs in, just like a little baby crunch. As your front ribs go in, press your back toward the mat. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Reach for your legs. Pull on your legs. Help yourself sit up. You might have to kick your legs out. If it doesn't work, just put your hands on the mat and or roll to the side. And then when you get upright, you're gonna swap around to all fours. And for now, you can just put your blanket off to the side. Okay, so the same kind of right hand prints that you did a moment ago, let's do that here. And we're gonna begin to do a forward, backward cat-cow. So you're gonna rock forward over your hands, and you're gonna arch your back and look up. And then you're gonna rock backward toward your heels, and you're gonna round your back and tuck your tail. Do that a couple more times. Inhale, rise, arch, back bend, look forward or up. Exhale, round or flex, that's the anatomical term for what you're doing with your spine, and push back toward your heels. Keep going at your own pace. Next time that you rise to all fours, just pause there and make a flat back, or a neutral spine is probably a better term for this. And then you're gonna check that you have your head back. Okay, so we're working a little bit today with kind of readjusting from forward head posture. So put your head back toward the ceiling so it's as high as your shoulders, or maybe a little higher. You might have to readjust where your left hand is to do this, but you're gonna balance on the left hand and take the right fingertips just behind your right ear. Lift your right elbow up, and you can even kind of push a little bit back into your fingertips toward the ceiling. So we're gonna rotate here, we're gonna twist the whole spine, and we're gonna take the right elbow down toward the mat, but not touching the mat, just across really toward the left wrist. And then inhale, open, elbow back, head back, neutral spine, belly in. Exhale, twist down and across to the left. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, twist. Now drop your right hand, thread it behind your left wrist, and then bring your shoulder to the floor. Really, your head is probably the first thing that will hit. So typically, what I see here with people doing this pose is that they kind of stop here on the side of their head. And what I'm going to suggest instead is that you tuck your chin toward your chest, and that you turn, you rotate your neck, and you turn and you look up past your left armpit. So you're rolling kind of more towards your ear, behind your ear actually. So think of it like you're rounding your back and you're twisting. So we're going to do this utilizing the left hand. So you can walk your left hand kind of more above your head or even over to the right. Push down with that, lift your elbow up and turn your head. Now your hips will tend to go to the left. So push back with your left hip so the hips are more neutral. It's hard to breathe here. It's hard to talk here too. So just see if you can get a breath somewhere in there. You might have to think back ribs to do that. And then when you untwist, you're gonna step forward with your right foot into a lunge. On the in-breath, you're going to bring your arms overhead, you're going to go palms forward, and you're going to hook your thumbs like so. So the arms are going to come up, you're going to hook your thumbs, and then you're going to bend your elbows and make like a diamond shape with your arms. So if you saw me from the front, it's like this kind of shape. And then you're going to pull against the hook of the thumbs to tone the arms. You're going to draw your shoulders back, press your skull back, squeeze your glute muscles, and zip the spine up nice and long, and just curl the chest open any amount. Now, with doing all this work in the arms, you might not be able to just back bend as much because you're engaging, you're activating while you bend. So just give it a try. See where you go. And then release. Drop the hands. Widen the right foot out to the right so it's at the edge of your mat, or it's even maybe off your mat. You can even turn it out a little bit. And then exhale, bend your elbows, drop the head down, and round your back. So this is a version of lizard pose. I don't really know why it's called that. I've never seen a lizard do this, but that's what it's called. Sometimes it's done with the back knee off the ground. You're welcome to do that if you want more intensity. This is fine for me, so I'm stopping here. You want to try to kind of target sensation in the right hip. You might feel it other places too. Okay, come up. We've got one more here in this kind of all fours position. When you take the right leg back, you're going to reach it straight back behind you. Hover it off the ground. So you're in, it's usually called like bird dog or something like that, but like all fours, right leg up. Once you have it up, suck your ribs and waist up, bring your head back, still in that neutral position, and then bend your knee. Push the sole of your feet toward the ceiling, and now lift your head, lift your gaze, and imagine that you're going to bring your heel and your head together. Now just check that you're not dumping your belly out. You're not rotating your hips open to the right. Your hips are kind of level to the ground. You should feel your whole back body engaging. Squeeze your right butt muscles. Bring that foot a little closer. Take one more breath. Pull the floor toward your knee. Lift your chin up. And then exhale, release. Okay, these are opposite of the position we're usually in all day, right? Usually we're just like slumped in a chair staring at a computer. Maybe that's just me. Okay. Left hand is going to find a way to hover in table position or all fours. You're going to put the fingertips behind the ear, and you're going to push the elbow toward the ceiling. Belly is integrated, and when I say that like neutral thing about the spine, you're just making sure that you're not sagging in your middle. I'm trying to tuck my shirt so you can see that better. Hopefully it's in a little bit, not so much that you can't breathe. Elbow towards sky, head back, working the back of the neck, upper back. Exhale, twist to the right. Take the elbow across toward your right arm. It doesn't have to touch it, but it might. Now inhale, untwist. You're facing the floor. Elbow back. You're working the back of your shoulder, back of your neck. Again, exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, press back. Exhale, twisting. Just giving a break to those muscles. Inhale, open. Now when we come across this time, we're going to drop the hand, thread the needle, left hand behind right wrist, drop side of the head to the floor. Now, remember here, you're going to tuck your chin, so you're moving a little more toward the back of your head, and then you're going to lift your right elbow and look, turn your head and look through the space by your right armpit toward the ceiling. Shift hips left. They're going to want to sway right. Try to avoid that. And you may experience something very different on this side. Try to get another breath somewhere in the pose. On in-breath, come out. Step forward, left foot kneeling lunge. Take your time. Come up. sweep your arms overhead. Maybe second favorite thumb on top if you can remember. Bend the elbows like a diamond shape and then bring the hands back so that they're more above your heads, not so far forward, as long as your shoulders don't hurt. If it's too much for your shoulders, just do what you can. Pull against the clasp of the thumbs. This will tone your arms. And then we give a little squeeze to the butt muscles. We lift up or zip up the spine, and we make it a little more of a back bend. And as I said before, there's a lot of work happening. I'm asking you to squeeze your butt, to pull on your thumbs, to engage. So you're not just collapsing into some passive back bend, you're working. So you may not go as deep as you would if you were just resting in the shape. Hands down. Move the left foot wider to the left. Lizard pose. If you didn't know, I have a dog named Lizzie, but her real name is Lizard. So she loves to hunt lizards. So I like to think of her when I do this pose. She could stare at a bush all day long looking for a lizard. Tuck that left hip down, even though the foot knee might be slightly out to the left, like making space for your torso. Try to drop the left butt cheek toward the floor. Let's tuck it under. Soften the shoulders. Bring head back up. We're stepping back to that one-legged kind of bird dog. So all fours, left leg back about hip height. So we're lifting the waist enough that there's some support there, not so much that we're sucking our stomach in and can't breathe. And then we're going to bend the left knee. So the tendency will be for the hips to turn out kind of like a fire hydrant position. Keep the knee pointing down, the hips square, and then send the foot toward the sky. Squeeze the butt muscle so you're not just breaking at the belly, low back. And then lift your gaze. So the chin will come up, the eyes will look forward, and you can kind of pull like you're sweeping your hands toward your right knee or right foot and lengthen the front of your belly. Try not to lift the eyebrows. You don't need to lift those. No extra eyebrow wrinkling. Instead, just push your head back. Push your foot up and forward toward the back of your head. Try not to let the hips go turned out to the left. Try to get a stretch in your belly. Work in the left glute. One nice breath here. And then release. Good job. We're going to open the knees to the sides, touch the big toes together, sit back on the heels, and then turn the palms up, relax the arms, and rest the head down. So it's just child's pose, but with the hands in a really relaxed position. A couple moments to just catch your breath, to get kind of small, quiet. Sit yourself on up. And then stick your legs out in front. Now, when you sit on the ground, if it's hard for you to stay upright in your seat, like if you're slumpy, it's like a new word, slumpy, grab a blanket or something to sit up on, because you want to facilitate ease in your sitting, right? Like you don't want to have that collapsed rounded low back. You want the low back to be kind of forward or in, so it's easy to sit upright. When you've gotten that situated, what you're going to do is you're going to bend your right knee and you're going to bring that foot somewhat close to your pelvis. This is where you get to like adjust all your pants and your shirt, because we're going to twist and it might get clumped up there. So hold your knee, sit up straight, get your head back. It's like you have an imaginary wall behind you and you're trying to get your head in the same line as your shoulder blades. Okay? Stay with that upright position and then switch to wrapping your left arm around, like maybe it's just your wrist, and then here's the closed part or belly part. Pull your belly around to the right and take your right hand to the mat behind you. Sit up tall. And then the right side of your waist, take that back. Twist the left side forward. Just keep pulling your knee upright and don't let it go out to the right. Now you might like to wrap your elbow, or some people prefer to cross their arm over. I'm not one of those people, so you do you. And then we're just going to add head back still, but that same rotation of head that we did earlier. So you're going to twist your chin around to the right, and you're going to be aware of when does the left side of your neck or left side of your body respond. Like I felt it all the way down in my left hip when I turned my head more. So you don't need to go to your maximum, don't strain your head or eyes to look back, but just find that edge of resistance. Pause on that. Try to relax where you're feeling the tightness. And if it doesn't let go, maybe back off the intensity, like don't pull or push so hard in the pose. Okay, unravel the twist. Switch legs. Holding the knee, help yourself sit up tall. Check that your head is back, right? So I heard a statistic, I haven't vetted this, so I could be totally wrong, but I heard this statistic that for every inch your head goes forward, it's 50 pounds of downward pressure on your neck. It's a lot of weight. Even if it's 1 pound, that's a lot of weight. So let's keep that head back as we twist around to the left, pull your shirt, your belly, your clothes, whatever around as needed. Hook your wrist, hook your elbow, and place the left hand behind you. If you have a little bit of a bigger belly, you can always move your foot wider and or lean back. That's another option there. So all bodies are welcome here. And then we're just sitting up straight. So hard, like every time I move deeper, I find, whoop, head's forward again. Slide that throat back and begin to turn your head. So when you turn your head, is there restriction somewhere in your neck? It's probably going to be on the right side, but maybe not. Chin is staying lifted away from chest. It's not tilting or tipping down. And you're just being conscientious about your own body, like what's going on in there. This is your user manual. You have to pay attention to learn how to use it. Find where you might be holding resistance and see if you can let that go without coming out of the pose. Backing off as needed to facilitate that. Good job. Untwist again. With both feet out in front, lean out over the legs and reach for your toes or the floor. You can always grab a belt if you want to. It's not really that important that you get to your toes, just get to where your body can get. Take a breath, push down with your hands, telescope up through the spine. And now when you lean forward over your legs again, don't just bring your head down. Imagine like the first thing that would touch the floor between your legs. It's not going to get there, anatomically impossible, but it would be your navel, and then your solar plexus, and then your chest, and then your chin, and the last thing that would touch would be your head. Well, that's not probably going to happen, but that's the visual. Eventually you can soften the gaze down and let the chin draw in just a bit, but I just want you to avoid this tendency for the head to drop first and the front of the body to close. Okay, straighten your knees as best you can. Try to find a way to engage your quads, your quadriceps are the front of your legs, your thigh muscles, to tighten those muscles in such a way where it pushes your thigh bones down closer to the floor versus popping them up toward your belly. So when you straighten your legs and your thigh muscles engage, it pushes your femurs, your thigh bones down instead of gripping and lifting up. We're going to stay here a little bit longer. Head back. Front body long and open. Femurs down. Good, you're doing so good. Just stay there. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. Release your hands from your feet or wherever they are. Start to walk them back. Push with your hands. Sit up. Scoot a little forward on your mat. We're just going to take that folded prop or rolled prop. We're going to turn it so that it's long ways. And we're just going to take a few moments to lie back on it. So you're sitting on the floor with your behind. It's kind of catching your small of your back. And then you lie back. Stretch your legs out in front. You might have to kind of pull your tail away to lengthen your low back, but just stretch them out. You want something like shoulder width or outer mat width with your feet. You can either open the arms out to the sides or take the elbows out and rest your hands on your ribs. So this is Shavasana, and Shavasana is translated as corpse pose. And it's like a moment of rebirth. Every time you practice, like the old ways can die, can release, and you get a chance to be reborn again. New version of you, a little more present, a little less stressed in your body. So let's be quiet together now, just acknowledging that time of letting go and planting those little sprouts and seeds for who you're becoming. I'd love to have you stay here for several more minutes. But I understand that sometimes there are things to get to, just to notice if you tend to cut short for an actual valid reason, or if you're just being impatient or bored. And if it's the latter, just sit through it, stay with it, just be here, be still a little longer. You deserve this time. And when it does come time to move again, just let the breath be the first thing that starts to circulate. And then your hands. Maybe your feet. Just move and awaken on your own from there and use your own guidance, your inner intuition and wisdom about how and when and in which direction to move to get up. Take a seat when you get there. You don't need to stay long unless that feels good to you. I mean, yoga asana, yoga postures are intended to prepare you for meditation. So if that happens, do it. But for now, I say thank you. I'm so grateful that you're here to join me, and I look forward to seeing you next time.